Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire and this is The Veg Plot Thickens. In today's video I'm going to be putting in a floating shelf in the polytunnel to help me with seedlings. I'm running out of space in the greenhouse, and obviously when things start getting going and it really ramps up for seed sowing season, I'm going to need some more space. Now, I saw this idea on a friend of mine called Pammy. She is at Garden of Whedon Allotment on Instagram. Thank you, Pammy. And I thought, what a really good idea. So I'm going to copy that now. I'm not going to be able to do this over the side beds on mine because they don't come deep enough, so they'll swing sort of over the pathway. So I'm doing it in the centre of my polytunnel. We have some wood anyway, some spare pieces of wood, so I don't think it'll take long to build. It'll be a very simple construction, but it's going to make a massive difference for me over this coming sowing season. As you can see, he's eagerly awaiting his moment to shine. Just in that junk shed again, and there are some spare laths here which I think should do the job. I'm going to turn into a princess now while Duncan picks them up and takes them over to the workshop. Hey Ali, Rusty Garden, you'd quite like those bed heads, wouldn't you? I've just washed a standard gravel tray off so that we can work out how wide we need these to be. Actually, I only think we need 4 pieces of wood, potentially, because I'm quite happy for it to have a big gap between them like that. I think 5 might be too wide. I know they can go closer, but... So that's the idea. The shelf, when fitted, will take gravel trays sitting on top of it. The space between the hoops on the polytunnel is 5 foot, so it's going to span 3 hoops. So I need it to be a bit longer than the 10 foot. Obviously it's 1 each end and 1 in the middle, so it's 10 foot span. But we need to just overhang a little bit. So I'm going to have the shelf 11 foot long. So I'm going to go ahead and measure these so they can be cut because they are too big. And Duncan is just cutting down the cross pieces for it. We're just going ahead now and lining up the slats of the shelf with the cross members so that we can work out roughly how far apart we need them to be to look level and even. Duncan is pre-drilling the holes to avoid the wood from splitting. I'll just go and get a tape measure while Duncan is doing this.
38.
19 is half of 38. There you go. We now need to work out where the centre is for one of the additional supports. But don't forget, no. 5 foot is, that's not the middle at the moment, is it? Because this is 11 foot long. So the hoops spaces is 10 foot. This is 11 foot. The middle of 5.5 foot.
Right, if it's going there then, a foot, then it needs to go to 6 foot then. Yeah.
No, because now you've gone the other way. You want it to be at 5.5, either side of 5.5 foot.
Alright, one wants me on 6. So
Yeah. Yes.
There you go.
Yeah. So Duncan's done the side ones and he's now doing the centre 2 support braces. So this is the basic construction of our shelf. As you can see, a standard gravel tray fits on it. You can have obviously the individual ones facing the other way. Now to secure this to the hoops in the polytunnel, Duncan has bought this 4mm chain from the local agricultural merchants, and we have these snap carabiners as well. So the way we're going to fix this is run the chain in 2-metre lengths up and over the crop bars and attach them together, and they'll just sit underneath the shelf. It literally couldn't be any simpler. It is just a floating shelf. We've got 6 metres of this chain, so I just want to see whether 2 metres loops of chain on each hoop will drop it low enough for me, because as you can see, it's quite a way up to the crop bars for me. I'm on my tippy toes. It's quite tall in here. A 2-metre loop there. So before we cut it, Duncan wants to just thread the floating shelf in, like so. And then he's going to just stand at the other end just to have an idea of what it would look like. That's fine, Duncan, absolutely fine. I don't want it any lower than that. I don't want it any lower than that, it's fine. Because it'll be, I can still grow stuff underneath, you know, for a bit. So there we have it, ginormous floating shelf. All I need to do now is put the gravel trays on there, and I can sow things on here now. It'll be especially useful for peas and things that mice like to get into, because they'd have to be complete and utter parkour geniuses to be able to come down the chains and get things. The same with slugs as well. So anything rodent or slug sensitive can be on this shelf, so they'll be protected. And then obviously when we move into summer, I can just take this floating shelf out because I won't need it anymore. I didn't want staging when I had the polytunnel because I wanted to be able to have full floor to ceiling growing space in here, but I always knew that a floating type shelf was going to be a really good bonus to have for this time of year for me. So that's it, short and sweet video. I'll catch you in the next one. Look after yourselves. Bye.